Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gauntlet Community Open Gaming in March 2022. My name is Mike, and my pronouns are he, him, and I will be the DJ for a session of Spirit of 77. A little bit about the Gauntlet. So the Gauntlet is an online role-playing gaming community that's been around for several years. We certainly predated the pandemic, and then once lots of play moved primarily to online, we had a lot of practices for online gaming that were already in place, and I know a number of us who were on the Gauntlet kind of shared our practices to a lot of people, and so to try to help move our in-person games to online. I know that a lot of people are moving kind of back into the real world as things are hopefully improving. But on our regular calendar, we run about 100 games a month. We have a blog, we have a forums. We're also a podcast network, and we also run old school online forums. If you're interested in learning more about the Gauntlet, check it out on gauntlet-rpg.com. Membership is free. You can play for free with no fees, but if you support our Patreon, you get our award-winning bi-monthly gaming magazine codex, and at another level, you can also get advanced access to the calendar. So it makes it a little easier to get into games. That's the Gauntlet. A little bit about myself. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for a long time. I started in the early 80s. Got my teeth when I was in middle school on the Tom Moldvay edition of the D&D basic set back in like 1981. I mostly played a lot of D&D in the 80s. I mostly played a lot of GURPS in the 90s. I mostly played a lot of D&D 3rd edition in the aughts, and then I played a lot of Pathfinder once D&D 3rd edition ended. We transitioned to Pathfinder, and I played that a lot until the year 2015. When my Pathfinder group ended and I fell into a group of story gamers who were playing this like weird little indie game called Dungeon World. And that was my first exposure to the Powered by the Apocalypse family of games. And that game broke my brain in a good way. And ever since then, I kind of dived headfirst into the deep end of the indie games pool. And that's mostly what I've been playing the past few years. The Gauntlet has really expanded my horizons. I've played a lot of games I'd never heard of, and some of which are now my favorite games in the universe. So yeah, that's a little about me. Why don't we go around the table? Let's go in clockwise order as I have you showing on my screen here. Just if you want to say a few, let us know your names, what pronouns we should use for you. Whether or not you've played with the Gauntlet before, and a little bit about yourself and your experience with role-playing games. So, Rod, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Rod, he, him. I joined the Gauntlet the latter half of last year. I've enjoyed a lot. Same thing as with you, Mike. That there's a lot of games that I never even heard of. That I got to play, and just the variety is it's really a draw by itself. Yeah, not much. I mean, I kind of started playing RPGs late, even though I would have played earlier had I got in a group. I probably started really seriously in college, and that was with D&D, and then after that, World of Darkness, the vampire RPG. Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to today's game. Thank you.
Fantastic. Glad to have you here. Mona, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mona. My pronouns are she, her, or she, her. Both are fine. And I have read a lot of RPGs, but I don't actually have a group to play with in real life because games are not, TRPGs are still not that common here, and most games are Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu, and I'm not that interested in either of them. So yeah, I just joined Gauntlet a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, fantastic. Glad to have you here. I hope this, yeah, I hope we're going to have a fun game today. Isaac, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Isaac. I go by he, him, and I've played one game with the Gauntlet before. I played Cthulhu Dark last year, and it was quite fun. So I stuck around, and then I heard that there was more of the open signups events. So I signed up for this one because I've had my eye on Spirit of 77 for a long time. It sounds very fun. I haven't been playing RPGs for that long. I started playing D&D in like 2020, which was terrible timing. And then I did that online for a while, and then the people I was playing with in real life didn't like D&D, so I introduced them to Monster of the Week, and that's the bulk of my experience has been Monster of the Week, powered by the apocalypse, that kind of stuff. I'm very excited to try out something new, and yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Fantastic. Glad to have everyone here. So Isaac, you've played Monster of the Week. Rod, you've played Powered by the Apocalypse games before? Mona, have you ever played a Powered by the Apocalypse game before?
Yeah, I have read them and I have played a little, so I know
Okay.
the basic. Yeah.
Awesome. I just wanted to get that baseline to know how, like, how fully I need to explain the concept and the nature of the game. So if we have some PBTA experience here, cool. We won't need to go on that very much. So Spirit of 77 is it is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's an earlier generation game. It hews more closely to the original Apocalypse world than a lot of later games. It actually compares pretty closely to if you've played Monster of the Week. It works pretty similarly to Monster of the Week in many respects. One thing that's interesting about Spirit of 77, there were some games there were some early sort of like first or second generation PBTA games that kind of split the playbook, where you had you basically you grab a playbook and a template and you kind of put them together, and Spirit of 77 does that. So your character is made of a playbook called a role, and that is basically what you do, and you also your character also has a background or a story, and that's who you are. So we're going to be using pre-generated characters here, just because PBTA character creation is off. It's certainly a lot faster than, say, D&D or Call of Cthulhu. SO77, it's a little more. There's a few more fiddly bits, and so I just thought it'd be better to work with pre-gen. So we've got a list of 6 pre-gens that we'll go over that we'll be playing with. But if you played Monster of the Week, Spirit of 77 plays very, very similarly. Okay, so Spirit of 77. Spirit of 77 is a Powered by the Apocalypse game of 1970s pop culture action and adventure. It plays very heavily to kind of like B movies of the 70s, like action TV shows of the 70s. So a lot of the touchstones for this game would be films like Smokey and the Bandit, or TV series like The $6 Million Man or The Love Boat. Like, I'm of an age where I watched a lot of those TV series, like in syndication on the UHF channels when I was a kid. Didn't see a lot of them first run, but I watched a lot of them. And I'm just, I have a, I have a deep love for this. So, let's see. So the concept of this particular game is called Bermuda Love Triangle, which the basic premise is, what if the love boat sailed into the Bermuda Triangle? Because the Bermuda Triangle was like and like mysteries of the unexplained was a very big thing in the late 70s. There's a TV series called In Search Of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy of Star Trek fame, that explored the unexplained phenomenon of the world, like ancient astronauts and Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and the Bermuda Triangle. So this game, Bermuda Love Triangle, I'm intending this to be a mashup of, let's, I'm going to go over what's called a CATS discussion, which is sort of like the elevator pitch of the game, just to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all here to really play the same game. So CAT stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. So the concept of this game is a mashup of 1970s film and TV pop culture tropes, where I'm going to be blending a heist movie, a nautical disaster movie, the Love Boat, the Bermuda Triangle, and of course, we're just going to throw in ancient Egypt, because in the real world, there was a massive worldwide exhibition of the treasures of King Tut's tomb. So we're gonna throw that into the mix as well, because hey, why not? The aim of this game is to play through a 1970s B-movie action adventure flick. The tone of this game, gonna kind of like be over the top action adventure. We're gonna have supernatural elements. This is a 70s B movie, so if we want to like lean hard into the goofiness, I'm all for that. I may be interjecting like film tropes, so I may be describing things as you would view them in a movie. I don't think the characters are not aware that they're in a movie, but I'll probably be regularly referring to like what the audience sees, or I may ask you to, or when I hand you narrative control from time to time, I may ask you to set the scene, like what do the viewers at home see. And the subject matter of this is going to include supernatural weirdness, nautical disaster, probably some violence. There may be a cultural issue in that we're going to be having a heist where you're going to be, possibly stealing some ancient Egyptian artifacts, or at least that might be the plot. Any questions on concept, aim, tone, and subject matter before we head on? Okay. So I sent everyone a link to the character keeper. It's on Google Sheets. Does everyone have that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So on that sheet, if you would please hop over to the Safety and Resources tab. We're going to talk about what safety practices we are going to be using in this game. So if everyone is over there. So we're a bunch of strangers that are getting together to play a game over the internet. Each of us individually is more important than this game we're playing. We're all bringing to this game a unique set of life experiences, things that have happened, for good or for bad. We may have, different preferences. We may have different levels of tolerance for different things in the real world we may not want to deal with in a game. So we're going to be playing with 3 safety practices that are intended to enhance the fun by putting things that we don't feel so good about aside. We're going to be taking a layered approach to safety. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is called Open Door. And Open Door is about, it's a combination. It's about your personal physical comfort, and it's also acknowledging the fact that life happens. Open Door just means that anyone can come and go as they please during this game. If something happens and you need to step away, please step away. Life has priority over this game. If you need to take a sudden bio break, or if you need to go out and get a glass of water, or if you need to step away because because the FedEx guy is at your door and you need to sign for a package, that has priority over this game. Please just excuse yourself. Just excuse yourself, do what you need to do, and come on back. We'll still be here. Also, part of Open Door is if we get into this game and we've been playing for a little while and you decide that, this is not the game that I thought I was signing up for. This game is not for me. It is 100% okay to say, you know what, guys, I'm not really enjoying, this game isn't for me. Have fun the rest of it, but I'm going to check out. 100% okay, no harm, no foul. If you start playing a game, you realize it's not for you and you need to resign, that's fine. I would ask if you are going to resign from the game that you let us know that you're not planning to come back so that we don't like wait for you. But yeah, if you need to leave for any reason, cool, come on back when you can. Or if you're not going to, let us know you're not coming back. Any questions on Open Door before we move on?
No.
Cool. Okay, the next set of safety tools we're going to be using is a proactive safety tool called Lines and Veils. This tool allows us to call out certain elements that may come up during the game before we actually start, so that we can kind of put some bounds around what we're going to encounter in the game. So Lines and Veils was introduced by the game designer Ron Edwards for his game Sorcerer back in the mid-aughts, and it's kind of moved through a lot of story gamers since. I'm starting to see Lines and Veils show up in traditional games as well, which I think is a really good thing. I can think of basically every bad experience I've ever had with a role-playing game could have at least been mitigated if we'd been playing with Lines and Veils. So what are they? So a line is a subject matter that we are going to call out at the start of the game that will not appear in the game. I won't bring it up. Well, the other players won't bring it up. If I were running a published adventure that was including those elements, I would do my best to like remove those items from play, rewrite them, redirect them. So basically, if something is lined, we're not going to encounter it. It's not going to happen at all. A veil is something that we can acknowledge happens in the game. We could allude to it happening in the game. We may find evidence that it has happened in the game, but it's not going to happen on camera, and it is not going to happen to one of the player characters without their prior player's consent. So if something were to be veiled that we were approaching it, we'd probably take a step back and like I'll do a check-in. It's like, it's okay if we go here. Or if it's something that's happening, we might cut away or fade to black or just fast forward the scene past it. So on this page, I have a list of topics that are frequently lined or veiled. I'm going to ask folks to take a couple of minutes to look over those. Go ahead and put a check mark next to anything that you wish to line or veil. If something is veiled and you wish it to be lined, we will certainly upgrade that. And I'm going to pause the recording now while we talk about lines and veils, because that's for us. Okay, our players have recorded some lines and veils. I have them on a stick note that's floating on top of all of my other windows, so I won't take my eye off of this. The next and final safety tool I want to talk about is called the X card. So the X card is a reactive safety tool. We use that when something happens in the game that you aren't comfortable with, or something that happens between the players out of the game that you're not comfortable with. You can X card things that are in game and X card things that are out of game. For example, so to invoke the X card, you can say X card. You can say if you're on camera, you can make like a gesture. You don't even need to say you don't even say the phrase X card. You can just say, "Hey, folks, we need to pause here." When you invoke the X card, you're telling us that we need to pause the game and have a little chat about what's happening. When the X card is invoked, we're going to pause the game and we're going to just have a chat as players to figure out, like you need to let us know what's making you uncomfortable. You don't need to tell us why. We'll just pause the scene and then we'll edit the scene as needed, whether that's we'll fast forward something, or we'll change some names, or we'll rewind and replay the scene without the elements. Or sometimes you can X card things like to call out other player behavior. Like, for example, if another player is regularly talking over you or is using your wrong pronouns or it's getting your name wrong, yeah, you can X card that sort of thing too. So basically, X card will pause the game. We'll have an out-of-game discussion about what needs to change in the game, and then we'll return to the game without those elements. Any questions about the X card?
No.
Awesome. So I got two things about the X card I do want to call out. One is, if something was happening in the game that was making you not feel great about, but you didn't really want to X card it because you didn't want to take anyone's fun. First of all, don't feel that way. Go ahead and X card if it's making you feel not so great. But if you let something slide and it happens again, you can absolutely 100% X card something that you already didn't X card the first time around. That's absolutely 100% okay. And I do want to underscore that. The other thing I want to talk about the X card is it occasionally happens that someone in their enthusiasm for the game takes their eye off the lines and veils list and introduces something that was lined or veiled. If that happens, anyone who notices, please immediately X card to bring it to everyone's attention so that we can not go to place that we had agreed not to go to. I wish I could say, I mean, I consider the lines and veils sacrosanct, but I can't say that that's never happened to me, even as a GM. I've occasionally accidentally stepped on a line or veil that I should not have, and immediately X card will apologize and move forward. Any other questions about the X card? One other thing I want to mention, it's not exactly a safety tool, but it's something I do want to bring up. Just in case something happens to me or my internet connection. If I leave and don't come back for 10 minutes and I don't send a message, assume something has happened and that the game is over. So don't wait more than 10 minutes for me to come back. I wish I could say that's never happened, but it's happened twice now, where I've been GMing a game and my house either lost electricity or we lost internet. And it didn't come back for like half an hour, so game was over. So yeah, don't wait more than 10 minutes for me. I'll try to message you some way if something happens to me, but it's kind of like when you're in college and you show up for class and the prof doesn't show, and if the prof is more than 10 minutes late for class, well, class is over, I'm going to go do something else. This concludes our safety tools discussion. Any questions before we move forward?
No.
Okay, fantastic. So if you want to click over to the player characters tab, I've made 6 pre-generated characters for our little daring tale. And so we'll go, just go over them quickly, and if any of them grab you, we'll use those characters, and then I'll hide the rest, and those will be our cast of characters for the game. So we've got Isaac Bolt, two-fisted hero of the streets. He has the tough guy. He has the tough guy role and the one bad mother background. So the tough guy is all about two-fisted action. So he's the street fighter. So he'd be the heavy of the group if we include Isaac in this game. We have Victoria Jennings-Wright, high-tech international art thief. She is the honeypot role, which is the person who uses it's the manipulator, the person who uses their good looks and guile and charm to get what they want. She also has the X-Tech background, which means she has access to high technology, which is like movie high tech that goes far beyond what you would normally have in the late 1970s. One way I like to play that is maybe you've got stuff that does the sorts of things that we have with today's technology, but we're gonna spin it with like we're gonna spin it with like 70s technology. So yeah, maybe you've got a smartphone, but it's the size of a shoebox. Maybe you've got you know, maybe you've got like a two-way TV, but it's like, but you've got these like reel-to-reel like magnetic tapes that are going. Lots of little blinking lights. Victoria's X-Tech device is she's got a Beretta 9mm. She's got a Beretta 92X, which is a handgun, but it also does a couple of other things, including it can shoot a grapple gun. It's got tranquilizer darts, and it's got an EMP pulse that can take out electronics. We've got Cornelius Danger Man, who is a daredevil motorcycle stuntman. He has the Gearhead playbook. I'm going to take a step back here. I've had some conversations with the writer of this game, and apparently Monkey Fun Studios is planning on doing a new edition because it's been pointed out that some of the names of some of the playbooks and some of the playbook moves had some racial connotations that the writer of the game wasn't aware of when the book was published, and it got missed by their sensitivity readers. So I have renamed some of the playbooks to kind of like take that out. So the Gearhead playbook is called something else in the actual book. But the Gearhead is the speed demon and stunt driver in fast cars and daredevil chases. In this particular case, Cornelius's special vehicle, the Gearhead gets a special vehicle called a Sweet Ride. Cornelius's is a stunt motorcycle, which is currently in the hold of the ship. And if if someone is playing Cornelius, I would assume that at some point they're going to get their motorcycle out of the hold of the ship, because what would be more 1970s than tearing through the halls of a cruise ship in a motorcycle? His role is All-Star, which is an athlete. So he's got some athlete moves. Next, we've got Jacqueline Wu, who is an ex-lieutenant of the Jade Dragon crime family. Uses she, her pronouns. So Julin is a bopper, which means that's a gang leader. So Julin has a group of 9 former Jade Dragon foot soldiers who are traveling around with her as a gang that she can move. We'll go over, and if Julin is going to be in the game, we'll go over gang rules, because that's one kind of cool thing about this game. Her role is Kung Fu, so she is a martial artist. And the martial arts moves were one of the other things that I changed a bunch of the names, because some of them were not good in the original book. Next, we have Larry McCurdy, who is an entrepreneurial fixer. He is the sleuth playbook, which is sort of like the private eye. I've spun him a little bit so that he's like, yeah, he's a private eye, but he's the kind of person that like comes in, checks out the crime scene, and cleans things up. His role is former badge, because he's an ex-cop. And finally, we have Alice Pepper Jackson, who is the goddess of funk. She is a glamorous bassist who is seeking fame and glory. Her big thing is she has a special instrument, a 1951 Fender Precision electric bass, which is possessed by the spirit of the late great Delta bluesman Milo Doc Sparks. And she can use her, and so basically she's got an electric bass that basically has magic powers. Specifically, she's got a custom move for the bass that she can use it to essentially mesmerize an audience. So those are our potential 6 characters. Do anyone have, do any of these characters call out to anyone?
Yeah, I particularly like Victoria and Alice.
Okay.
I'm drawn towards either Janice or Larry.
I think
It was
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I was making these characters, I was kind of assuming he was there. I was kind of conceiving that, you know, Larry was kind of the George Clooney character from Ocean's 11, so he's kind of the mastermind, but not necessarily. I'm sorry, Rod, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No, that's fine. I think I'm leaning towards Janice or Larry as well, but whatever. So whichever you.
Oh no, that means I have to make a decision.
Well,
Oh,
do you
darn
have
it.
a preference or?
I think see, I think Larry is smarter than I am. I don't know if I could pull off the group leader role.
It's a 70s action movie, you know, it doesn't have to make sense. Oh, and the other thing that I'm going to do in this game is we're going to start in media res, and then we're going to have some flashbacks. So kind of like in a heist movie, you know, we're going to start with the action, and then we can like do flashbacks to like fill in how we got there. So you can use that to try to like, so, you know, we can use flashbacks to like, you know, set stuff up that happened off camera that we're bringing into play later.
Do we start off knowing each other already, or?
I'm going to say yes. You are going to be
Okay.
starting off. You are going to be starting off as a team that came together to pull off a heist. So you know each other. You know each other's abilities. You may not necessarily be friends or have known each other for long, but you know, we can maybe, you know, if we want to have a flashback of planning the heist, we could certainly have that scene.
I'm gonna go with Larry McCurdy.
Fantastic.
Yeah, then I'm going with Victoria.
And with Victoria, okay.
And then I'll go with Janice.
Okay, so we've got Victoria, the international art thief. We've got Larry, the entrepreneurial fixer. And we've got Janice Wu, the ex-lieutenant of the Jade Dragon crime family. Okay, so I'm going to hide the playbooks. I'm going to hide the characters that we are not using, so we are not distracted by them. Where is the hide? There it is. Julius. And we're going to hide Alice. Okay, so we are going to have Victoria, Janice, and Larry as our team here. Fantastic. All right. Let me check to see how we are with time. Guess I'll just go over a little bit of the rules of the game. So, as is usual for Powered by the Apocalypse game, there are a number of basic moves. If you've played Apocalypse World or if you've played Monster of the Week, a lot of the moves are pretty similar to those. So, you know, there's Deliver a Beatdown is the melee combat move. Smoke his ass is the ranged combat move. If you get hit in combat, you can take a hit, where you can try to shrug off the damage that you're taking. You know, get out of the way is sort of like the that's basically the defy danger, or that's get out of the way. That's kind of the general purpose dodge move. Keep your cool is the kind of generic. I think I need to do a move here, but I don't know. But none of the others seem to apply. So if it feels like dice need to hit the table and we're not really sure another move applies, we'll default back to keep your cool. There's a help mechanic that I'm not super jazzed about in this game called Help a Brother Out. I think later games have done a better job with a help mechanic, but you know, we'll just use this one. You know, the get in someone's face is the basically that's the intimidate move. Get what you want is the bargaining move. Scope out a scene is the move to, you know, that's the information gathering move. You can give someone the third degree, which is the interrogation move. And finally, there is free your mind. which harkens back to Apocalypse World's like open your brain to the psychic maelstrom. This is the so free your mind is where you're kind of like not stuck and not sure what to do. You can basically well, the way the move is basically the way the move is worded, like you can take some drugs and like open up your mind to what's going on in the world and hopefully get some insight. The Kung Fu background gives you a meditation move that lets you do free your mind without taking drugs. But hey, it was the 70s. I mean, we didn't play her, but we're not playing with her. But if you had looked at Pepper's possessions, one thing that she had on her was was a bong and a dime and a nickel bag of weed, and one of her things in her cabin was a whole lot of weed. Because again, she was a musician in the 70s. So in addition, your characters do have a number of playbook moves. Those should be all on your characters, and if any, and the general resolution mechanic is you roll 2d6, you add a stat. If you get a 10 plus, if you get a 7 or higher, it works. If it's a 10 or higher, it works completely. If it's a 7 to 9, it works, but there's a complication, or you don't get quite everything that you want. And the magic of a PBTA game is that 7 to 9. It's where you it works, but there's a complication. And it's those complications that it's the snowballing of the complication that really makes the that's where the fun of a PBTA game is. So there's a shared dice roller. If you want to get to that, there's a link to it over in the safety and resources tab. That just goes to roll dice with friends. And I'd forgotten about that. This is the same. It's the same dice roller I used last time I ran Spirit of 77. So it's got some rolls from previous games. So if you go to the dice roller, it should say GCOG Spirit of 77 on Roll Dice with Friends. One thing I will ask you to do is at the top there's a name field, and it'll default to the name Dallas Dice Roller. Please just go ahead and like copy that over and put in either your player name or preferably your character's name in there. So when it comes to dice, we know who's rolling what. So I've done a lot of talking at you. Are there any questions before we get going? Oh, okay. So looking at the time. Oh yeah, please.
I do have one question, just because I think I know the answer. Am I muted?
Nope.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I think I know the answer to this because you said it's quite similar to Monster of the Week. But in terms of like triggering moves, is it like if I want to shoot someone, do I say I'm going to pull up my gun, I'm going to take cover, I'm going to smoke his ass? Like, can you kind of trigger it that way, or is it preferred that you don't actually use the fun pulpy names?
It is 100% okay to use the names of the move, if you're intending to trigger a move. Yeah, it is absolutely fine to name your move. I the DJ am not supposed to name what GM move I'm using, but if you use the players, if it's not obvious what you're doing, I mean the general thing of Powered by the Apocalypse games is to do it you do it. So you have to describe in the fiction what you're doing that triggers the move. Okay. That said, if you want to use the move and you're not sure how to trigger it, it's absolutely fine to say, hey, I think I want to. It's absolutely fine to like kind of say out of character, like, I want to. I want to scope out this scene, but I'm not really sure how to approach it. And then the GM and the other players can maybe give you some ideas on how to do the fiction so that you can trigger the move. Because you have to do it fictional. In order to trigger the move, you do have to do something appropriately in the fiction. You have to tell us what it is.
Yeah, that's what I figured, but I just didn't know if like actually, because they have such fun names. I just didn't want it to come across like, I'm gonna smoke his ass, and nothing else, because I want to use all the fun terms.
No, that 100%. Yeah, that's one thing I love about Spirit of 77 is that the names of the moves are really evocative, and really genre appropriate for a 1970s B movie. I was going to say, I had one other thing I was going to say about triggering moves, and the thought evaporated. Yay. Oh, so one thing about playing Powered by the Apocalypse, I know everyone here has played some in the past, but this game is a conversation. I will regularly be like asking you for input on the world. The world that I have is just, it's like sketch. It's an outline on the back of a paper napkin, basically. So I'll be regularly asking you to like fill in details. There's a scene I've taken from, there's a technique I've taken from some other games called Paint the Scene, where I'll like give you the gist of a scene, and I'll maybe ask you a couple of leading questions to like, and I'll have you like tell us what the scene looks like. I'll ask you to add details, and then it's my job as the GM or the DJ to like incorporate those details into the story. And the way Powered by the Apocalypse game works is, I present a situation, I'll ask you what to do, what you want to do. You tell me what you want to do, which is going to make a change in the fiction. I, as the GM, will, the world reacts to what you do, changing the fiction, presenting a new situation, where I will ask you, what do you want to do again? So that's kind of how the game works. This is a fiction first game, so what happens in the narrative is paramount. So when moves say, so there may be some moves which say, like as established or per the fiction, and that just means, so like some weapons say that, like do harm as established. That means by established in the fiction. So for example, if you're like, if you're trying to punch out a goon, that does harm as established. So that means the harm that you're going to be inflicting upon the goon is going to be like, beating them. It's not going to, if we've established that this is a fist fight, the kind of injuries that are going to come out of that are per a fist fight, unless someone pulls a knife or a gun, because again, it's the 70s. Any questions before any questions about the rules or the rules elements? I know I threw a lot at you. Things will probably we can certainly pause and explain things as they come up in play. One thing that's kind of unique about Spirit of 77 is the gang rules, and since we do have a bopper in play, the gang may come up, and we'll go over those rules as it comes up. So looking at the time, I've talked a lot. I think we've done our setup. So I've gone over safety. I've given the pitch of the game. We've picked our characters. It's about 7 minutes before the hour. Why don't we take our first break? Let's take a 10-minute break. Let's come back. Let's take a 12-minute break. Let's come back at 5 minutes past the hour.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to pause the recording and see you in 12. Okay, we're back. While we were on break, I was looking over the basic moves of this game, and I do want to call out that I'm making a change to one of the moves. Spirit of 77 is an early generation Powered by the Apocalypse game, and it has a help mechanic, which is basically lifted directly from Apocalypse World. Similar mechanics exist in Dungeon World and I think Monster of the Week. It has a hooks mechanic, which is a way to mechanize like interpersonal relationships. And the help mechanic was when you try to help someone with whom you have these where you have like specific hooks, which are like connected backstories or ways that you intend to interact with them. You would roll with the number of hooks that you had with that character, and on a success, they get a +1 to their roll, which I have found in play does not work very well, and a lot of people agree with me to the point where that mechanic doesn't really exist in like second or later generation Powered by the Apocalypse games. So I'm basically replacing this with a similar mechanic that we see in a lot of other games, which is when you directly assist someone, tell us how you're helping, and then they can roll with something extra. Something extra is an advantage mechanic. Again, it's common in later games. Basically, when you roll with something extra, you roll 3d6 and you add the highest 2. So basically, you throw out the low die, so it increases your odds quite a bit. So if you're helping someone, if you're helping someone out, tell us how they're helping, and they can roll with something extra. The danger is you are exposed to whatever the same consequences or risks that they are. So simple, straightforward, and I think works a lot better than the help mechanic as written. But you do have to really be assisting someone, and in such a way that you are also exposing yourself to whatever risk that the other person is being exposed to. Any questions on that before we go on? Okay, fantastic. So, the setup. It is 1977. The Sea Queen Cruise Lines scored a major coup by signing a deal with the government of Egypt to allow an exhibition of the worldwide touring exhibition, The Treasures of King Tut's Tomb, on one of their ships, their flagship, the Caribbean Queen. This 2-week floating exhibition is sailing out of Miami, making stops in the Bahamas, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. And yeah, so you're on a luxury cruise liner, the Caribbean Queen. If you want to see a layout of what this ship looks like, there is a tab called The Ship. The name of the ship on that tab is a little different because I lifted this from a different adventure, but you're aboard the Caribbean Queen. But otherwise, that's the layout of the ship. You, however, are aboard this ship for so most of these people are here. Most of the people aboard this ship are here for a romantic cruise through the beautiful summer Caribbean. We'll also be able to go through this like exquisite exhibit of the treasures of ancient Egypt, which has been set up on the Mediterranean deck. Which has taken over most of so this exhibition has taken over most of the public areas of the Mediterranean deck. So sorry, hardcore gamblers, mainly they've taken out the casino and replaced it with this world-class exhibition of like priceless Egyptian treasures on a cruise ship. What could possibly go wrong there? But you are here not to take in the sun and the salt air and to possibly find love aboard a romantic cruise ship. No. You're here for a much more practical reason. You are here for a heist. There are 3 objects in this exhibition that you wish to steal. So I'm going to go back over to, so if you want to hop back over to your player character questions, to your player character, if you want to slide down toward the bottom, every character has 3 questions to consider. This is going to help flesh out your backstory and also give me a few more perhaps story elements to play with in this game. So I am going to ask, I guess I'm going to put people on the spot. So Victoria, what is your cover story?
Yes, okay. So my cover story is that I am a Fed here to help protecting the artifacts. And the artifact I'm most interested in liberating is a manuscript, because I think it might contain some secrets. And who I'm most afraid might be on this ship is the FBI agent. My cover identity is a real FBI agent. I'm impersonating her. So if she's on the ship, that would be very, very bad. Yes.
Fantastic. Hold on, let me take some notes here. What is the name of the FBI agent that you are impersonating?
I don't know what's a typical cop name for the 77.
I mean, I can probably come up with a name if you'd like.
Yeah.
So you are posing as FBI Special Agent Marianne Spencer.
Okay, Marianne Spencer.
You are afraid of crossing paths with the real Agent Marianne Spencer.
Yes.
I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, Janice, I'm going to ask you some questions to consider. What do you call your gang, and who is your lieutenant?
I think my gang is called the Scales of the Dragon. I think my lieutenant, so I think I'm posing as we're posing as a group of businessmen and women from Shanghai. And I think my lieutenant is pretending to be my secretary, and her name will be let's see, what's good names. I call her Susan.
We didn't establish where. We didn't establish where the Jade Dragons are from. Are they from China? Are they like from San Francisco? Are they like where are they from? Are they from Hong Kong? They from Hong Kong? They from Taipei? Where are they from?
I think Hong Kong would be great.
Fantastic.
And I think my moniker with the group was Wings of the Dragon when I was part of the larger crime family organization.
Fantastic.
I think I left because there are too many people getting hurt, like innocent people, and for the greed of others that were wealthy enough and powerful enough. So I left because of that. I'm afraid that if they catch me again, they'll make me do they'll make me part of the syndicate again, and this time they'll keep an eye so that I won't be able to escape.
Okay, fantastic. Give me some nice things to play with. Okay, and Larry. So, how did you pull this team together? And you are muted.
Oh no, I've committed the cardinal sin of online gaming.
I was on a Twitch stream last night, and one player every time he wanted to say something, he forgot to unmute himself.
Oh, bummer. All right. For how I pulled the team together, I think Victoria, I like to picture that it was kind of I'm a private eye, I busted you, but instead of turning you in, I think maybe we formed a bit of a partnership to be on this cruise together and kind of achieve both of our goals at the same time. I'm planning to cover up my involvement, I think, if this is okay with Janice, by framing the Jade Dragon organization to maybe take some of the heat off you, and to go back to the first question, how he pulled the team together. And maybe question 3, maybe I'm working for you and the scales of the dragon to kind of help you get out of that old life. If that sounds good to you.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I love this. This is great.
So I'm the one who pulled the team together, but I'm not really in charge.
I was going to say, you're working for someone else. That's absolutely cool. I think that was a question that I had in. I think that was a question I had for Larry, but ended up going with a different one.
Oh,
it was going to be something like, who are you really working for?
No, that's the one I have.
Oh,
Who
that
are
is
you
the
really
one.
working
Okay.
for?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Fantastic. I love this. So we got yeah, Mona gave us one of the 3 artifacts you are specifically looking to liberate. That is a manuscript. Janice, what is another specific artifact from this exhibition that you are specifically looking to liberate? And feel free to make something up. Don't feel like you have to go like looking up the actual historical treasures of King Tut's tomb. Not that I did that myself at all for this adventure.
Gosh. Oh, like an Anubis mask. That was a ritual mask that was used. And there's rumor, it has a lot of stories tied to it about that the priests were able to raise the dead with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was about to ask why are you looking for this particular artifact? Love it. And Larry, same question to you. What is an artifact that you are specifically looking? What is the 3rd artifact that you are here specifically to liberate?
All right, Larry's here for a very special khopesh, the curved ancient Egyptian sword. Why he's here for it? I think maybe he on a previous job he screwed up, and it was for like someone who collects these kinds of artifacts and stuff, and like he broke something priceless. So now he has to make it up before like a certain amount of time is up, and this is something that the guy would like. It would calm him down.
Okay, so you need to give it to a collector to repay a debt.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I'm just going to mention that we probably saw this in kind of like the opening credits of the movie as you were getting aboard the ship. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do just like a little montage scene? Just like a quick little montage scene. This is what's happening. The viewers, the audience is seeing this kind of like as the opening credits roll of you boarding the ship and checking into your rooms or checking into your cabins. So why don't we just kind of go around the table and just give us just a really brief quick little montage scene of you coming aboard the ship, checking into your cabin, and then like, what are you showing the audience to indicate that there's more to you than meets the eye? Let's go anti-clockwise around the table, if you don't mind me putting you on all spots. So Isaac, would you start?
Oh boy, yeah, I'll start. So Larry's getting on the ship. He's in his Hawaiian shirt and like white undershirt and khaki shorts and sandals. And he's got his like little backpack and a suitcase and one of those like fisher hats that dads wear on vacation. And he's always walking on the ship, and he goes and he gives a nice nod to the valet, whoever greets you when you board these fancy ships that Isaac's never been on. And he gets back to his room, and he locks it, puts his ear to the door, and he opens his suitcase and he pulls out like 4 more Hawaiian shirts and 4 more sets of shorts, because this is what he wears all the time. No one will ever suspect him. And he opens a secret compartment in the bottom of the suitcase and starts to pull out like old like tape recording equipment and his little burglary kit with like the little machines and stuff, and or little devices, and he's lining them up and making sure they're all nice. And he pulls out his trusty 38 special, starts to clean it up a little bit, and then he puts his camera on, and then he goes out and stands on the balcony, just takes a picture of the shoreline.
Love it. That's fantastic. So Victoria, would you also do the would you also kind of do the same thing of like a little montage scene of you boarding the ship and getting into your cabin, and what does the audience, and like what do you show to the audience that lets you know that there's more here than meets the eye?
Yeah, so I think Victoria is in this outrageous like Victorian era dress, like a lot of frills and very big, and it's very obvious. And she's like, oh, waving at everyone, and like she knows, oh, how do you do? And we should get to know each other. And so, like, she's purposely drawing attention to herself. And when she gets to her cabin, she kind of draw her beretta from the side hoister and start to check the X-Tech, like, I don't know, maybe there are a lot of weird dials and gears that shouldn't be on the gun. And once she's done, she winked at the camera and said, the best place to hide is in plain sight.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. And same question to Janice.
Yeah, I think like the group of the gang of us are all in business suit, definitely making a stir when people see us all. I think my secretary, my lieutenant Susan, is going to do all the talking. Actually, does all the talking, so that when we're greeted as we come on board by the ship staff, she just says, oh, we're very tired because of the we just flew in, and there's whatever the time zones, so we just want everything to be quiet, just have a quiet trip, and we ask not to be disturbed. And Janice all this time is just looking kind of stone-faced. I think we're all wearing shades, every one of us, except for Susan. And as we go on board, there's one of the gang members actually pushing like a bunch of crates with us, and I guess we can find out what's in those crates later. And I think we just go to our quarters. I think maybe like as we pass, maybe turn a quarter, you can see that some of us are. Did the gang members have guns, or let's say they have blades on them, like secreted upon them, but as they turn, you can the audience will see that they are armed.
I was going to say you can define how they are armed. Just a little bit about the gang rules. Normally, like a 2 harm, like a 1 harm, a gang that does 1 harm is generally unarmed. They're just using fists. A gang that does 2 harm is usually they're usually armed with like, not, I mean, the example in the book is like a biker gang that's armed with knives, chains, and and brass knuckles. A gang that does 3 harm is either like highly trained, like a gang of ninjas, or they have serious firepower. I mean, a 2 harm gang, they may have like they may have a couple of guns between them as a gang, but a 3 harm gang, they're generally well armed. They have they've got like decent handguns. Maybe they've got they're all armed with handguns or like serious melee weapons like swords. Generally, when you create a gang for the bopper move, you have 3 points to spend between armor and harm. And so when I was making this gang, I decided to give them 2 harm, 1 armor, figuring that maybe they're like however they're posing. I mean, I was actually getting an idea of like the crazy 88s from wrong era, but I was thinking of like the crazy 88s from the Kill Bill movies. Maybe they're dressed in like business suits, but maybe they've got like thin body armor underneath. Possibly, it's really up to you how you want to. Deliberately was trying to be a little vague, so it's really up to you how you want to define them. I'm also like these mysterious crates. Also like picking something from a Tarantino movie. Like I love the idea of like once they wheeled in one of the crates, like one of the lieutenants like opens up one of the crates and like some light shines out of it. He nods knowingly and closes it. But the audience doesn't see what's inside. Oh, so that's the opening scene. We then see, and the sky was beautiful. So like the sky is beautiful, the seas are calm, and the ship blasts its horn and like goes out, and this basically it's like the intro scene of it's like the establishing scene in an episode of The Love Boat. People on the shore, people on the pier waving, and there's people on the boats waving back, and it goes on. There's cameras camera flash bulbs flashing, and and the ship sails off, like steams off into the sea. And that's when the credits stop. The screen goes black, and then it comes up again, and there's like lightning flashing, and the ship is like in the sea, but it's night. The ship is listing. The storms are rough. It's raining. There's lightning. The ship is somehow steamed into a storm. So that's the establishing shot outside. We then cut inside, and you are in the exhibit. It's night. The lights are off, so it's all dark in here. But you are in the exhibit, pulling off your heist. So let's do a. So again, I'm going to go around and ask, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this scene and what you're doing, and like what you're doing, and like tell us a little bit about what this exhibit looks like and what you're doing. Let's go in reverse. Let's reverse the order I did the intro scenes, if you don't mind, and let's put Rod on the spot. So Janice, what's Janice? So you're heist is underway. You're in the museum. You're trying to you're doing what you're doing. So what are you doing?
And
you don't even have to be there. So the heist is going. Where are you? What are your like? So what's happening? So the heist is well underway. The way I want to do this is we're starting in media res. Heist is going on. Something's going to happen. We're gonna like do a little bit of that scene, and then we're gonna jump back and then see the setup. But I want to do this like in media res action scene to sort of start.
I think then the gang will be in or several members of the gang and I will be in the exhibit room, and I think one of the, at least some of the things that we brought in the crates are actually counterfeits of the things that we're trying to steal. So we're going to try to replace them, and I think we have someone who's we have people with tools trying to dismantle the display cases. So that we can go in and out. It's pretty dark in here. We have, everyone has like, little flashlights and we're kind of like, it's just kind of like a beehive of activity as we're running around and try to do this as quick as we can. At least, the gang members and yeah, and we're pretty, we're trying to be as efficient as we can. And I think we're just moving in. Any commands that Janice has to give are silent or are whispered. So.
Love it. Same question to Victoria. Heist is going on. Seems to be going pretty well. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm thinking for the most variable artifacts, they have like a X-Tech pressure sensor platform, like underneath the platform is some kind of liquid, and they have, so it's like a pressure sensor in modern technology, but it's X-Tech. And so Victoria I'm using my grappling gun to like descend onto the platform to replace the artifacts with the counterfacts in my cat suit. Yes.
Love it. Oh, that's one other thing I did want to mention before we started the scene while I was going over the rules is this is not really a game of resource management. So if it makes sense for you to have other stuff with you, you just have it. If it's weird or expensive or like, if it makes sense for you to have a flashlight, you've got a flashlight. If it makes sense for you to have like, walkie-talkies, you got walkie-talkies. If it makes sense for you to have, if it makes sense for you to have like, a lighter, you've got a lighter. If you want a bazooka, we might need a fictional reason that why you might have that sort of thing. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to say, and so like Victoria, if you want to have like, say that you've got like, other X-Tech burglary equipment, that would totally be in your purview, and we can figure that out.
Yeah, but I like my gun.
Love it. No, that's fantastic. Okay, same question to Larry. Heist is going on. What are you doing? What are you doing in this scene? You don't necessarily have to be in the exhibit. If someone wanted to be posing as a guard, that would also work.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of bodies in there right now. Honestly, I think Larry, what he said was, "All right, you guys go inside. I'll stay out here with some of the boys and keep lookout." But really, he's just like trying not to throw up. The seas are rocky, and Larry does not have sea legs, so he's kind of stumbling around, but like trying to save face in front of the other gang members, trying to stay in charge. But he also is keeping a bit of a lookout for, like, I assume there's like patrols of guards.
Oh yeah, there is absolutely security. There's way more security on this ship than you would normally see on a cruise ship because, well, it's got like, it's carrying a priceless exhibit owned by the government of a sovereign nation that is priceless but is insured for $75 million. Which in 1977, which is like approaching $1 billion which approaches $1 billion in 2020 dollars, mainly due to the runaway of inflation of the 1970s.
Woohoo.
Anyway, okay, cool. So, one other thing, I don't know if any of you've been on a cruise ship. Cruise ships have giant gyroscopes connected to the ship on the bottom that are like always spinning. So even if the sea gets rough, these it is gyroscopic stabilization. So if it didn't have them, like if you were on like a Navy destroyer, you'd be rocking all over the place. You can feel that the seas are rough, but these gyroscopes do keep the ship relatively stable. So you're not like rocking all over the place, even though you're in a pretty nasty storm. Just some real world stuff that I'm going to inject here that would also like make sense for the fact that, you know, we've got an establishing shot of stock footage of a cruise ship in a storm, or maybe it's a model, who knows. You know, cut to like the scenes of you like doing this heist that's being filmed in a perfectly stable soundstage. Okay. So the heist is actually going along great. Until there's a crack of lightning that's, you can see through the windows you can see through the windows on the deck that's going into the exhibition hall. This lightning was green. And when this crack of green flash comes through the window, you notice that there is a in a glass display case is this bejeweled it's called a pectoral. It was a piece of funerary jewelry that would be placed basically it was a very large necklace that would be placed on a mummy. Certainly too big to be worn as jewelry, but it was decoration, and it's got and it's stylized like a desert eagle. And when this green crack of lightning flashes, at first you thought it was just reflecting off of this green flash, but this piece of ancient Egyptian jewelry is now glowing with the same green glow. And after a moment, you notice that several of the artifacts in here are also glowing with the green glow. Well, that's kind of weird. You go back to what you're doing, and that's when you hear the sound of, that's when all of you who are in the room hear a scraping sound as the lids of 3 ancient Egyptian sarcophagi slide open, or like slide open, and from inside of these sarcophagi sit up 3 mummies, who then each turn to you and who each turn and each looks right at somebody. What do you do?
Hi there. And we are just borrowing this. We will return them someday.
I'm actually, forgive me if I've misinterpreted this, but I almost imagine like Victoria is like suspended from the ceiling on her grapple gun.
Yeah.
Like trying it's got like a soldering iron in one hand and a screwdriver in the other, and is like trying to disable the X-Tech sensors. And that's when you realize, like, oh, there's a mummy over
there. Yeah.
Janice and/or other members of your gang, what is your reaction to the fact that you no longer seem to be alone in here, and your guests might be 4,000 years old?
I do like a very low whistle, which means, head out. Is the mask that I was after, Well, first of all, is it glowing? And number two, is it able to be retrieved?
I'm gonna say the mask you were looking to retrieve was let's see, it's rumored to have mystical power. So I'm gonna say yes, it was it did briefly glow green, although it is not anymore. I'm gonna say for the sake of argument that this happens as you were approaching, like maybe you've gotten the maybe you got the lid, like if this is okay, maybe you've taken the glass lid off of the display case. You got the fake in one hand. You were just about to reach for the real run to do the switcheroo. That's when these mummies have animated. So I'm going to say that's a scene there. So, and I'm going to say that one of the mummies is actually pretty close to you. It's only like 2 or 3 steps away. What do you do?
I'm gonna make the switcheroo, and I am gonna book it.
Okay. I think we should have our first roll of the game here. This sounds like it's going to be a keep your cool move to try to do this. If that's okay, unless you've got another, like if you've got a playbook move or something else that might work better here. But
No,
I
that's not-
think pulling the switcheroo under the shock of like, oh my God, mummies. I think we should have a roll here.
Cool. And then is it smooth or hustle?
So that would be that'd be kind of up to you. It's going to be how we want to approach this. I don't think I wrote down what the stats actually mean. So let me just make sure I got it right. So so might is physical activities, like jumping, lifting, or lifting or hitting things. You can also use it to resist damage, like shrugging off a punch. Hustle is used for moving quickly and accurately, shooting guns, throwing knives, sleight of hand, and avoiding danger. It can also be used by a character with a kung fu background instead of might. Smooth is your ability to manipulate, impress, intimidate, or seduce people to otherwise get them to do what you want. Brains is figuring out problems, calculating odds, analyzing clues. And soul is when you're acting creatively, performing songs, spiritual pursuits, and working with the glam, which is sort of like the mystical force, which is the mystical force of that binds all things together and makes them fabulous.
All right, so I'm definitely going to be using hustle. And let's see. I rolled an 8 + 2, 10.
Perfect. So if we were doing so okay. On a hit, you do it. On a 7 to 9, there's a complication. But there's no complication. So yeah, you do the switcheroo. What does that look like?
My focus is on making on switching the mask, not tripping any wires. The audience kind of sees the mummy inching closer, hand stretched out. And I think, once I put it in, I see that the mummy, like, gosh, yeah, let's say it just grabs the fabric of my pants leg, because I'm a little bit higher to access the display, and I just kind of do a quick spin and jump off with the real mask in my hand, and I'm booking it for the exit, and I'm the last person of my gang there.
Love it. Larry, you were outside. I think we established you were basically guarding the entrance. You hear some commotion from inside. What do you do?
I'm going to do a quick look around for any patrolmen who are coming down the corridor.
None at the moment.
I'm just gonna crack the door And I think as soon as Larry cracks the door, that's when the gang members start pouring out of it, and he's a little seasick, so he kind of tumbles and falls on his butt. Oh, oh, wow, beans.
Awesome.
It's not very actiony, but it's poor Larry's not feeling very good.
Okay. So I'm going to say, so I'm going to go back to Victoria here, who is kind of like suspended. I'm going to say, I don't think we need a roll here. I'm going to say that it's you have just disabled. You have now just disabled this pressure plate for the artifact that you were specifically going for. But at this point, the mummies have gotten up out of their sarcophagi and they're lumbering, but lumbering like with more speed than you would expect a 4,000-year-old mummy to be able to move. Like there's one that is definitely moving toward you. Again, not, this isn't a fast zombie, but it's not like it's not like it's not doing the zombie shuffle thing. Again, they're not zombies, they're mummies. And you're still suspended there. You've just disabled the pressure plate. What do you do?
Do I see the manuscript?
I'm going to say that's what you were. I'm going to say that's probably what you were going for. And yeah, the manuscript is in this display case that you've just disabled the pressure plate for. But
Yeah,
it's still under glass.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep trying to liberate the manuscript.
Okay.
So if I need to open the glass case, I'm still welding.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to say we don't need a roll here to disable the pressure plate. So taking off the glass case isn't going to ring any alarms. But there's this mummy that's rapidly approaching you. So I think this is probably also going to. So I think I'm going to have you make a very similar roll to what we had Janice do, which is in order to complete this without being interfered with by this mummy. I think like tell me how you're going to approach that, and I think that's going to be a keep your cool move.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to work as fast as I can.
Okay. Can you give us a little more like how are you like tell us a little more about the scene on how you're like doing this switcheroo while this mummy is bearing down on you.
So I open the glass case and I draw out the manuscript and I slide the fake one under the real one as I tuck the real one into my sleeves. Yes.
Okay, love it. Yeah, I think this is going to be a keep your cool, both for like trying to not damage this ancient manuscript, and also you got this mummy that's at this point a mere foot or two away from you.
I got 2. I got only 4 total.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say it sounds like you're probably trying to act fast here. So I was going to have you roll plus hustle. Where'd my die roller go? There it is. Oh, snake eyes. Okay. So I get to make a hard move. So I'm going to say, yeah, you have done the switcheroo. You've done the switcheroo. You've got the manuscript. You've put the fake one in the case. You've closed the case. you hit the release of your gun to like bring you back up so you can, presumably like swing away and like land in the Black Widow superhero pose. But you just when you hit the release to like reel yourself back up, you go up a little bit and then you feel but you hit something hard and you looked up and the mummy that was bearing down on you has grabbed the cable and with one hand, and with the other hand, it's like going for your throat. What do you do?
Does the zombie have eyes?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You faded out there for a sec.
Does the mummy have eyes?
I'm just going to say that since this is a 1970s B movie, I'm going to say that it's got like a piece of bandage over where its eyes were, but there's like two eyes that are like glowing red that you can see glowing through the bandage. And you're pretty sure, you're pretty sure it's looking right at you.
I gaze into his eyes and say, "Can we talk about this?"
I love it. Playbook move. Okay, so you're using age. So it sounds like you're trying to charm the mummy out of not strangling you right then and there. I love it. So yeah, so let's go ahead and roll Angel Eyes. So why don't you roll plus smooth and let's see what happens.
I roll 6 plus 2, so 8.
Okay, so so yeah, so on a 7 and 9, they redirect their hostility elsewhere.
May I make a suggestion?
Please.
Okay. Based on what I think Larry would do, I think is it okay if the hostility is directed to Larry and I kind of explain how Larry's in this situation?
100%.
Okay. So as this is going down with the cable and the switcheroo, Larry gets up and he's like, "Ah, beans, so we made already?" And he steps inside as the rest of the gang members are leaving. And he doesn't believe in mummies. What he sees is 3 guards that have been like planted in the exhibit in the sarcophagi, which is not something he could have ever predicted. But he thinks these are just normal people. So he's going to whip out his badge and he goes, "Hey, ma'am, you're under arrest." And he's going to try to draw the mummy's attention away from her by posing as an officer of the law because he thinks these guys are with ship security.
I love it. I love it.
Just
Now,
like
if these were
fully confident.
I love it. That is fantastic. Now, if these were actual guards who are trying to who are trying to apprehend Victoria, I'd probably have you roll a get what you want here, but I don't want to roll here. I think this just works. Because hey, sometimes you get more than you ask for. So yeah, the 3 mummies that were I'm going to say one of the mummies was basically chasing after one of the gang members. One of the other was just like lurching into the room. And the third one that was about to attack Victoria, they all turn their attention to you and they start moving towards you quickly.
Yeah, don't worry, boys. I got this under control. We've been tracking this one for a couple of months. It's pretty expensive to track her on a cruise ship, but I got her. I'm just going to keep walking past them. Isaac knows this is stupid, but I like the comic relief Larry.
As you walk past them, you hear one of them go,
"Oh yeah, me too."
And you turn, and that's when you notice the glowing red eyes. And on that, I think I'm going to call. And on that, I think I'm going to call our. I think I'm going to call our second break. Let's take 10 minutes. Let's just round this up. Yeah, I got 1 minute before. So yeah, let's come back at 10 past the hour.
Cool.
And we're back. Okay. So the camera so the camera like zooms in on these like on like the face of this of this mummy with the glowing red eyes, cuts back to just like a reaction shot of a look of terror, shock and horror from Larry. And
beans.
And so then what the audience sees at home is just a shot off of the is an establishing shot like looking off the front promenade of the what's the name of the deck? What's the ship? Yeah, it's just a look off of the promenade of like it's a beautiful sunny day. There's like people playing shuffleboard on the deck, and the caption at the bottom is 12 hours earlier. So let's do kind of a flashback scene of setting things up for the heist. Of like what you were, what you were doing, like what you were planning, like how this was supposed to go down. Maybe have a couple of scenes where you are discussing what you're like specifically looking for, and maybe why, so that we so that the audience knows kind of like more of what's going on. Does that sound cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pose this to you folks. I'm guessing we're there's got to be a meeting where the three of you like get together and like compare notes. Maybe you've like drawn maybe you've like drawn a map. I mean, we can say for the sake of argument that you've already. Anyway, we'll figure this out and play how we want to do this. So where would you like to have the meeting?
Does the ship
Somebody's
have a pool?
cabin? Do you want to like somebody's cabin? Do you want to like get a high back booth in one of the like in the tiki bar on the sun deck? How do you want to do this?
I like the imagery of the tiki bar, but every other table is taken up by the Scales of the Dragon gang members, so we're like alone.
I love it. That's fantastic. Hey, so yeah, it's a tiki bar. I'll do a little color here. It's so yeah, you're on a ship, but it's but it's got like dark. It's a 70s, so it's got dark wood paneling. It's got like a big wooden bar, and it's got like the fake like fake Polynesian. It's got some of the fake Polynesian stuff, but it's also got a tropical theme, which you're in like subtropical waters, but the theme here was clearly a different ocean. But hey, it's the 70s. People don't really pay much attention to that. And yeah, I'm gonna say it's like the three of you. I'm guessing the three of you are like at a booth. It's got like kind of like got a high back. I'm guessing it's got like red faux leather seats and back, and like a dark wood table. Ask what are the three of you drinking?
Shirley Temple.
Club soda.
Maybe an orange juice.
But
I mean, if it was
stay sober.
I mean, if it was 12 hours earlier, I'm guessing it's I mean, if we established 12 hours earlier and your heist was happening, I'm thinking like in the middle of the night, probably past midnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's like early afternoon now, and the weather's beautiful. Yeah, so go ahead, like this This is the time to roll.
All right, everybody, good job staying sober. You know, never get drunk before a job. This is my #1 rule. Now I'm gonna break that rule. You see, it's a question for the DJ. What? It's not local police, but can my friends on the force apply to ship security?
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say that's absolutely fine. Then that makes total sense here. If you were sailing out of Miami, most of the time for security guards, they're going to be hired. They're going to hire like retire. They're going to retire like either, or they're going to hire cops that are moonlighting and are like spending their vacation time, or cops that have retired. So yeah, there's plenty of former cops that are on ship security.
All right. I know these guys. I know these boys. I know how they tick. All right. Before we go in tonight, I'm gonna get them all hammered. All right. That'll take the numbers down by like, I don't know. I didn't graduate. I don't know math, but like a lot. There won't be very many of them. All right. Make it a lot easier to get all the boys in there without being seen. And I'm thinking beforehand, maybe I could, I look very unassuming. I've got my little camera and my little hat. I go in there, I case the place out. I look for any, secret cameras we have to disable beforehand. Any, tripwires, stuff like that. I could go alone, someone could come with me, but I mean, I think that's how I'm going to end up spending my day. Chumming up with security, and just taking a look around a place. See if there's anything unusual.
Yeah,
That's
so,
good.
Because it's
So,
1977 and like everybody smokes.
yeah,
It's good
so
for you.
after hearing this, Victoria said, "Oh, but what's the fun if it's not a little dangerous?" And then she opened up her purse and draw out this giant blueprint and she started to explain the precious and the X tag in the person. Oh, you see, this is it's not the latest model, but it's almost the latest model. I have seen one better than this in a museum in Cairo, and she is starting to explain the X tag, but obviously no one else can really understand the mumbo jumbo of it. And finally, she said, "This is very exciting stuff." Yes.
Yeah, well, I still think I'm gonna go on there and make sure everything on that map is on the up and up. So you say what? This has like a propeller? Did I catch that right? This thing has a propeller on it. And I'm looking for a propeller. All right. Wow. I gotta write this down. Pulls out his little cop notebook and starts writing down all the X tech that Victoria's going on about, not understanding any of it, just like we'll see how it
Right.
goes.
I prefer things simpler, and I just kind of like eye the machinery with a little bit of judgment there. And we agree that we are only targeting these 3 items. Anything more is just inviting risk.
Larry's buzz is that he needs money and lots of it. So I think Larry is not being very good at it. He's like avoiding eye contact, going, but he's gonna try to. He needs to try to swipe a little stuff for other debts too. The fact that there's no gambling hall has changed his plans significantly. Yeah, just three.
All right. Gosh, right.
Yeah, I think Victoria will say, "Come on, you two are too serious. We are on a cruise ship. Let's have some fun. You should loosen up a little."
You can be dangerous and you can have fun after our business is concluded.
Why do you have to distinguish between business and pleasure?
It's called a work-life balance, all right? I gotta be sharp
Yeah,
when I'm on the job.
I have work-life balance. My work is my life. It's very balanced.
That feels like the scene here. I think so. I think we've established that. So Larry and or the rest of you are going to do a walk, basically play tourist, walk through the exhibit. You know, look for the, you know, like check out where the security cams are, see what the like guard, like see what the guard patterns are. You do know that the exhibit is closed at night. So that's probably when you want to do the hit. I think we do have a scene. It might even be like cutting back and forth between like the three of you sitting in the bar, like discussing, like doing the walkthrough, and that's intercut with like Larry and the rest of you actually walking through the exhibit, and kind of like cut back and forth of like how you were describing of what you were doing with actually doing it. Do we want to have that scene of you scoping it out? Does that sound interesting, or would you rather move to something else? Because the other thing that I think we established here is Larry's gonna try to get these guards together and have a party and get them all really drunk. That's definitely a scene I want to see.
I think with the intercut scenes, I think there maybe we have one moment where Janice is in the exhibit room looking at the mask, and then it cuts back to the planning table, and she's looking at a picture of the mask, and you know, she's just kind of intent on it while the other two are bantering, and I think you know, her lieutenant Susan will you know, kind of step by her, and they'll talk in Chinese with subtitles, and Susan's just kind of, you know, just kind of like saying, you know, that you know, don't get your hopes up too high, this is just, you know, superstition, and she's just kind of saying, and Janice is just saying, you know, if it works, you know, I can undo a lot of the damage I've done. And you know, that they kind of have that little exchange, and then Larry's kind of looking at them, so they end their conversation.
Larry does not speak Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Victoria would be pointing at the manuscript and just generally explain to anyone who would hear, like, hey, look, that is the Red Sea Scroll. People say it's a scroll that inscribes the magic of the ancient Egyptian magicians, but I think it's actually Aztec in there.
You know, is X-Tech a real thing, or did you just make it up?
I'm not saying it's Aztec, but it's Aztec.
Yeah, whatever.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, that's the thing I love about the X-Tech thing. It can really be anything you really want it to be. But yeah, I love the idea of you know, like, oh, it's the ancient, you know, the ancient Egyptians, they actually had high tech. They actually had high technology.
It's the aliens.
It's the aliens.
I'm not saying it's the aliens, but
It's the
That was another thing, like for real in the 70s, there was this like whole thing about pyramid power, and there was a popular book of what's now considered pseudo archaeology. Eric van I think he was Danish. Eric van Daniken wrote this book called Chariots of the Gods, which was about ancient astronauts. You know, it's all considered bunk now, but it was pretty popular. I mean, it was pretty much considered bunk in the day, but it was popular. Like no real scientist took that stuff seriously. But hey, this is a 1970s action movie, so all that stuff's real. Okay, so I like the idea of that scene of your planning like intercut with you actually like scoping it out. I think we see a couple of scenes of you like noting where the security cameras are, and you know, maybe there was and maybe and then maybe when you're in your planning phase, when you're talking about like how you're going to deal with it, we see that's intercut with a scene of Victoria in her in her leather cat suit, like in a little electronics closet, like moving wires around to try to loop the tapes. So I think we can establish that you've just successfully disabled the cameras. But the scene I'm interested in seeing is Larry getting the guards drunk. I'm going to say it's probably a bit later. Probably going to wait till probably going to wait till like evening, like after the dinner hour.
Mhm.
So why don't we have that scene? I'm curious. I'm curious as to how that goes.
All right. Larry's got his sunglasses on. No hat. Just got the big mustache, the sunglasses, and the hat, and the Hawaiian shirt. And he goes up to like the lounge where the night guards are like off and have just finished their dinner and they're getting ready. And he comes in and he's got like a bottle of bourbon and a bottle of, I don't know, like normal
Rum.
beer.
Oh,
Yes, rum.
beer, yeah.
No, we'll go with rum. Rum's cool.
Well, you're in
And
the
he just-
Caribbean, so
He basically bursts through the door and goes, "Hey, Ricky, long time no see, buddy, old pal." And my buddy Ricky is sitting with the other guards. He's kind of the head honcho, if that's all right.
sure, absolutely. Hey, you got friends on the force.
I do.
Oh my God. Larry, what the hell are you doing here?
Hey, I'm on my vacation.
Larry, what's a guy? Where's Larry from?
Oh, the Bronx.
Larry, what is you get Larry, what you finally getting some sun in your old age. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Well, I figured, I don't want to go into the great white beyond as white as a sheet of paper. I might as well catch some sun. It'll do my old skin some good, I'll just take a seat next to him and to hand him the rum. Stretch out.
I heard you retired. I heard you retired. Like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, well, I went off the force and I started doing a private business. You get to set your own hours and you can charge whatever you want. And there's no what's the
Internal-
defense, a criminal defense lawyer? What's the term for them?
The
Public defender, maybe?
public defenders, defense attorneys. I know
There's
there was. I think you're right. I think there was a like a 70s term for them you'd sometimes see in those old cop shows, but I don't remember what it is.
Well, I'll call them snakes. There's no snakes, Well, not that I have to deal with.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, I retired last year and drawing my pension, and I got the easiest gig in the world. I mean, come on, who's gonna try to mess with a crew? Yep.
Yeah, man, you got yourself a sweet deal. I'm out here, spying on cheating husbands. You're, catching sun. You're surfing. You're swimming with dolphins and mermaids. Want to smoke?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, he lights one up too.
Oh man, love this stuff. So introduce me to the boys. Do I recognize any of these old pirates?
So yeah, he introduces you. There's like several rounds of drinks. Are you introducing any other things to this?
I think that'd be up to you. I'll stop with Ricky. There is some of the hold for scope out a scene, I think I'm looking for like little things about each person, but I don't know if I specifically know any of them.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of shooting for.
Okay. So yeah, so if you're trying, so basically if you're trying to pick up some information, yeah, why don't you go ahead and why don't you go ahead and scope out the scene if you're trying to get more info out of this.
All right.
So why don't you roll plus brains, and also whenever you do scope out a scene, the questions on crime scene investigation are also in place. You can ask any of those questions as well.
Cool. And am I rolling with what's it called?
I think that's roll plus brains.
Oh no, rolling with something extra because I'm
Oh.
dealing with the local police.
Oh yeah. You can actually. Oh, you can absolutely. Okay, yeah, you're rolling with brains and also with something extra. So roll 3 dice, and we'll add the high 2.
Okay. A 3, a 5, and my brains is 2. So that's I think 10.
That's a 10. So that's a full hit. Awesome. Okay, cool. So yeah, you've got 3 questions, and so you've got 3 questions. I'm gonna say that crime scene investigation counts here. You're not really investigating. This isn't really a crime scene, but I think it follows into your. I think that kind of falls into the purview here, since you're dealing with cops. So
right.
I don't know if any of so you can if you choose to ask one of those CSI questions in addition to your 3 from the main list if you want. I don't know if they necessarily apply, but I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I think the first I'm going to go with is who's the toughest person in the room? Who do I absolutely need to get completely wasted tonight? And that maybe not physically toughest, but like shrewdest.
Got it. I kind of figured that's who you meant. Yeah, well, it's clearly not Ricky. But yeah, there's a younger guy who looks yeah, there's a younger guy. He looks really sharp. He actually looks a little out of place amongst all of these other. A lot of these are definitely retired cops. 1 or 2 of them might be ex-military. Hard to say. There's one younger guy who looks really sharp, and also he's also clearly like not hitting the sauce as hard as the rest of them. So he seems to be pretty serious.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that since they were probably like here before their shift, I'm going to say that a number of them were like, and he's actually got his guard uniform on, and his little name tag says Ramirez.
All right. I would like for my second hold. Can I ask, is there anything hidden here to kind of deduce what's going on with Ramirez, like maybe his background based on like where he is in the room or how he's looking around, stuff like that?
Yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah, there is something hidden here, and that is you're really shrewd. You pick this up. It's this might actually even fall under Victoria's purview, but it looks like he might. At first, you thought he might be wearing a hearing aid in one ear, and then you realize that's not a hearing aid. That's like super duper high. That's like a super duper high tech like earpiece for a radio, and then you look at what you thought at first was like a little like a little metal pip that was on his collar that might indicate rank of some sort. That's a microphone. This guy has like super high tech like Fed level. This guy has a Fed level communicator.
Oh.
It's probably and it's probably connected by a really thin little wire, and he's probably wearing, he's probably got stuff that's either like harnessed under his clothes or like taped to him, because these things, these things need a battery pack like that, but and probably need like a long whip antenna that's again probably like taped up his back or something like that for the transmission. But You think it might be a Fed, just given his communication equipment, which, since this is, since this exhibit is owned by a foreign sovereign government, it's not actually too far out of the, it's now that you think about it, it makes perfect sense for the US government to have put some feds here just to, make sure things are on the up and up.
All right. I have my last two hold. My next one, who is the most vulnerable person in the room? Who is the weakest domino that I need to push to get them all going?
Oh, that's your friend. I'm sorry. What did you say? His name was Marty?
Ricky? I think it was Ricky.
Ricky. Yeah. Ricky. He's definitely the ringleader. He's the one that the rest of them look up to. And with the possible exception of any other undercover feds here, as he goes, the rest of them probably will. Okay.
My last one, the free hold from my playbook move.
Yep.
It's not like it's a little bit of a playing with the words, but I would like to ask, who is the most obvious suspect to the Fed? Like, if something goes wrong, like who can I plant stuff on, or who can I frame so that the trail doesn't at least immediately lead back to me and my friends?
Well, let's be extra duplicitous here, and let's say that's Ricky again.
All right. Well, Ricky was always a bit of a scumbag, so I don't mind.
Hey, he was on the take. We all knew it.
He skimmed a little bit off the top, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Well, now that
give me. Well, this arrest. Well, it's you're in a pretty bad shop. I caught you with all these drugs, but you give me $50, maybe you'll forget this whole thing ever happened.
Yeah, pretty much. That was old Ricky. All right. But he gave some to the chief too, so it never got out. There's a whole racket. Larry was totally in on it. Larry does not have clean hands here. But yeah, now to spend some time, socializing, casing the room, getting to know the boys. I'm gonna try to make the dominoes fall. I'm just gonna start, buying rounds for everyone. Start swapping war stories. Maybe literally, maybe not literally. Stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. So I don't think we need a roll here to get most of the guards drunk. I think we might need a roll to basically. I think we might need a roll to make sure that Ramirez isn't really on to you. Clearly he's annoyed that you're getting all these people drunk, but can you convince them that you're just an old friend who wants to party, or is there something more going on? Yeah. I just feels like there should be a role for that, and I'm trying to think what role that might be, looking at the basic moves here. Not exactly manipulating them.
Would it be keeping your cool with charm and social grace because I'm working under pressure?
I think that's the one that probably. I think that's the one that most applies here.
All right. What's my?
So let's do let's do a keep your cool with smooth.
Smooth, and he's not my friend on the force, so I don't get the bonus die to that.
No, he is. No, I was just going to say you don't get friend of the force, because this guy is definitely. He's definitely suspicious.
I rolled a 9.
Nice. So, looking at the move, on a hit you do it on 7 to 9. There's also a complication. The DJ will tell you what, and I'm gonna say, that you could just tell Ramirez is suspicious that there might be something going on here, but he's definitely, but he's absolutely not sure. I mean, if you'd blown this, if you'd blown this roll, it'd be like he'd be having a difficult conversation with you. And so here's how I think I'm going to play this. So so the party's going great. There's a lot of these guys are a lot of the cops have a lot of these guards have gotten pretty. They're feeling pretty happy. Let's just put it. Ramirez has not touched the either the rum or the bourbon. He's been nursing a bottle of Bud for like he's been nursing one bottle of Bud for an hour. And at some point he like walks up to you and says, "So Larry, is it?"
Hey, it's me. Larry McDonald.
Larry, well, he extends his hand like Jack Ramirez, good to meet you. How'd you know these guys? like what's your story? He asks.
All right, before this, I would like to walk back the part where I gave him a fake name because I realized I'm probably gonna have to show him my badge and that will have my real
Oh, that's
name.
true. Oh, that's
And-
you can absolutely. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, cool. Isaac would not be a very good criminal.
Larry McDonald.
Hey.
Oh, I mean McCurdy. Sorry, I've been
Sorry,
undercover
McDonald
so
was-
long. I sometimes give the wrong.
McDonald's my
Larry's
wife's name.
obviously drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Me and what was his name? Ricky.
Ricky.
I should write this down. yeah. Me and Ricky. My voice cracked. Oh my gosh. Yeah, me and Ricky. We we was on the NYPD. In the the '60s. We were all old war buddies. We go way back. And I was on this cruise. Just on my vacation. I saw him like walking around the pool or whatever. I thought, oh man, it's my boy Ricky. So I found out where I could find him from some of the staff, and I came up here and I said, hey, it's my boy Ricky. How do you know Ricky? What are you doing on this ship?
Well, I mean, obviously, obviously, and he points to, and he like gestures toward his guard uniform. Well, obviously, I'm was hired to do security. There's some very very valuable things on this ship right now. Very very valuable. It'd be it could. I mean, if anything were to happen to some of this stuff, it'd be an international incident. And I gotta tell you, if something happened to those artifacts in that King Tut exhibit thing, the feds had come down on them like a hammer.
Yeah, like a hammer, huh?
Oh, I mean, helicopters. I mean, helicopters coming out of the sky, and maybe even the coast and the Coast Guard.
Shit. Yeah, that's some pretty heavy duty stuff. I just thought, like the dinosaur bones in museums aren't real dinosaur bones, they're casts. I thought this was all like, fake. But you tell me it's real?
Oh,
I never thought they'd put so much valuable stuff on a boat in the middle of the ocean, like what if it sinks?
Oh, he just kind of says, oh yeah, this stuff's the real deal. This stuff's like 4,000 years old and is literally priceless. I mean, nobody could fence any of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you don't say. Yeah, well, I guess must have crime-proofed the place pretty well, huh?
I mean, this stuff can't be sold on the open market. It's all, it's all heavily cataloged, and yeah. Well, anyway, still, it's a great gig. Get to hang out on a cruise ship when I'm off duty.
Yeah,
like it.
and when you're on duty,
Well, still on the cruise ship, even when I'm on duty, even when I'm in the exhibit hall, like watching everybody.
Yeah. Well, listen, look, I got places to be, books to read. So look, you take care of yourself, Ramirez. All right.
Okay. He shakes your hand and he like looks you hard in the eye, just kind of nods. Like, you take care of yourself too, Larry.
Yeah. Well, you'll be seeing me around, I'm sure. Small boat. Bye, Ricky.
He slaps you on the back and slurs, wishing you a good evening. And I assume you leave the bottles.
Oh yes, I leave the bottles. And a nice tip. It says I have $100 and it's all gone.
Okay. basically for $1977 to now, multiply prices basically by 10. So that's like
Never mind.
so that's like $1,000 today's money.
Never mind then.
Actually, I don't think it's quite that high. It's I think, but it's more than 5, less than 10. I've looked this up in the past.
Well, I'm gonna
Primarily when people were like, this is totally aside. Primarily when people were like complaining that like like an RPG book is like, how can someone pay $60 for an RPG book? Well, back in 1977, the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide had a price tag of $20, and the first edition Player's Handbook had a price tag of $15. So $25 for the two. Yeah. We'll convert that to $2010 or to $2020, and that was worth more than $100. So
wow.
books were actually much more. Books are actually cheaper now when you adjust for inflation. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Sorry, that's
okay.
That's one of my social media soapboxes that I often get up on. It's like, how can people pay so much for RPG books? Like, well, they're way more higher quality and they're way less expensive than they used to be. Anyway, that was an awesome scene. That was an awesome scene. What do you want to do from there? And then I'm going to check in with the other characters.
I'm actually gonna go meet Janice. Janice and the rest of the scales of the dragon, probably like down on the Lido deck or something. Just casually looking over the side of the bow. We say, all right, so I think there's a Fed on board, which complicates things a little bit. I was able to incapacitate most of the security, so we shouldn't have that much to worry about. I think we should meet up with Victoria. Give her a little warning. She's impersonating a Fed, right? So like, it might be a complication if they run into each other and she has to like identify herself. So we got to make sure we warn her about that. But this guy did say, if anything goes missing, the hammer of God is coming down on whoever gets pinned on. So I'm thinking we might be able to get these guys off your tail, like once and for all. At least internationally, you can't go home, but you'll be safe in the US. And I think I know the perfect guy to pin it on.
Oh, we have the replicas. Hopefully they won't notice anything till after we're gone.
Hopefully, but they'll notice eventually. And I'm just thinking, maybe we could kill 2-3 birds with one stone here. Maybe to something that ties back to mommy and daddy back home. I just know that's kind of why I'm here, to help get them off your back. And it is. I mean, if you want to do this just clean, just leave it up in the air. That's totally fine. You're in charge. But I'm just letting you know our options.
No, that's a very good option to have. We appreciate your work.
No, I appreciate your money. Some good-natured backslap.
Janice, anything else you want to do before we cut back to the cut back to like the mummies interrupting your heist?
No, I'll just add one note that I think there's an Egyptologist on board, who's drawn by the. And I have someone like tailing him. Let's say it's some British professor.
Actually, I have an NPC for NPC for that.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there is an Egyptologist. Her name is Professor Zahira Tor. She is chair of the Department of Egypt. She's chair of the archaeology department of the University of Cairo, and she is, and she is here as the curator of the. She is here as the curator of the exhibit to make sure nothing's out of place.
Great. So yeah, so I have someone tailing her at all times.
Okay.
Yep. But I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Want to do one little scene with Victoria. So while Larry is like boozing up the guards, I'm going to say, Victoria, you're probably in. You're probably. I think we've established that you like to live it up a little bit. Is it? Am I correct there?
Yeah.
So I think that you're doing something fun to kind of unwind before this heist goes down. So this is a cruise ship. There's a concert hall, so you could take in some movie. There's like a discotheque, so you can show your amazing show your amazing disco moves, under a disco ball with a really good DJ. There are multiple. There's not just the tiki bar. There's multiple other bars. There's always a buffet somewhere on a cruise ship. What are you doing?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to do because when we just saw someone who is possibly fed. So I was thinking Victoria, not only she was going around and showing her fake FBI badge to bartenders and people and just like, oh, I'm an FBI agent here to ensure the safety of the priceless artifact. So tell me everything you know about the ship security. And then she,
I love it.
And after everything, she's like, what could possibly go wrong?
I love it. So yeah, you're not at the tiki bar. You're at a different bar. I'm going to say this one is. This one's got oh, I like it. I know. This one's got like a classic Jet Age mod theme. So it's a little retro. But yeah, this is like this looks like the kind of bar that like Frank Sinatra and the Brat Pack would have been hanging out in 1964. But you fit right in. So you're chatting with a bartender who's dressed, dressed in kind of like a, who's dressed pretty nicely. I mean, clearly it's he's got like suit jacket and the tie and the vest. So yeah, you're like chatting him up, like, oh, I'm an FBI agent, and asking him some stuff. It sounds like, to try to get more information out of this guy that might be relevant. I think unless you've got a better move, I think this might be get what you want when you try to manipulate someone. In which case, I'm going to say like basically, what are you offering them in order to try to get more information out of this guy?
I mean the good old money. I'm just sleeping in a bill and like, hey, you know, this is not for drink. I'm a very generous tipper.
Okay, love it.
Yeah,
love it. Okay, that's totally cool. Yeah, what did we? Yeah, well, let's let the I'm going to declaim responsibility to the dice. So yeah, why don't we do a get what you want move? So why don't you roll plus smooth?
yeah.
Okay, you got a
get
7
plus.
plus your 2 of smooth. That'll be a 9.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just take a look at the. He leans in close and says, "Well, I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to discuss that a little in like after my shift is over in just 30 minutes. I'd be happy to discuss that a little in a little more intimate situation, if you catch my drift." And he tries to give you bedroom eyes.
So I
I mean, you can
I-
always say yes and not show. So
yeah. So I say, yeah. I say, okay. I will see you. Yeah.
yeah, so you arrange for a tryst, and while you're so I guess so I'm going to say that so you've got you make a promise, and he's basically going to say that he's going to lean in and say, oh yeah, the guard, like I've never seen the kind of security we have. I've never seen the kind of security I mean, I've been doing this for several years, and I've never seen this many feds before. I mean, you're the second lady Fed agent that I've seen.
Really, what's the do you know the name of the other FBI agent? I might know her.
Oh, what was her name? He thinks about I think it was Marianne something. She looked a little like you too.
Oh, definitely not someone I know. Yes, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, anyway, yeah, she was in here like a couple of hours ago. I mean, you can usually tell with feds. Can't tell with you. You don't carry that off, but you can usually tell from a fed. She just had that like total business look to her. But anyway, at least she tipped well.
So I have a question.
Oh yes, go ahead.
I have removed another satisfied customer. So would that apply in this context?
Absolutely.
But for example,
Let's see.
if I made a promise and I don't show, would he still be like, oh, whatever is good enough?
Let me just take another look at the basic moves here. Let's get what you want. Yeah. You can always choose the option. They are happy with the bargain. In addition to the option chosen as the result of the move. Get what you want. Well, let me just take a look. I'm feeling a little bit of a disconnect here. Want to make sure I just want to make sure I understand the move correctly and that it was copied correctly, because that seems, again, just want to make sure. Oh, interesting. Looking at the rule book and then what's displayed here, and the moves are actually different. I'm wondering if the play sheet I grabbed might have been from a different edition of the game. So the way it works in the book is they do what you want and pick two. They do what you want and pick one, and the choices are: they do it immediately, they do not demand immediate payment, they perform especially well, and they are happy with the bargain. Yeah, that's weird. That looks like, okay. Well then, so if you want to, yes, that absolutely comes into play. I'll make that change during our next break, just so that we're all on the same page here. So yeah, that totally works. So if you want to, so on that roll,
yeah,
go on.
So I think instead of giving giving a promise, she's giving him more like and people like, if I'm not too busy, like, it's kind of not promise. So
make it vague.
Yeah.
Keep it vague. Keep it casual.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, and yeah, okay, 100%. So yeah, if you want to use that move there, and if you want to say, you know, they're happy with their side of the bargain, they're happy with they're happy with what they get out of the bargain. So yeah, if you want to use that, that's absolutely cool. That's basically means that, well, she didn't show, but you know, that does, you know, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, no harm, no foul. Maybe she got a bad vibe. Love it. Okay, so looking at the time, it is just about the hour. Let's call our last break. Then we'll come back. We'll go back to that. You know, we'll go back to see where we left the heist, and we'll hopefully bring it home. Ideally, I'd like to end the session. I'd like to end the action and get us to a good conclusion, like maybe 15 or 20 minutes before the scheduled end of the hour, before the scheduled end, just so that we can do some epilogues for the characters. So let's take 5 and come back at 6 minutes past the hour.
Okay.
Okay, and we're back. We are here for the final act of our game. So we're cutting back to the scene in the museum, where Larry has just attracted the attention of these 3 mummies. The one that was about to attempt to throttle Victoria to death, he lured them away, confusing them with guards which are dressed up as mummies. So we're going to pick this up right there. And it's, as is true of many of these movies, you know, it's basically we're going to replay basically the last 90 seconds of that scene before we cut away. So to review, so the members of Janice's gang are like basically running out. Larry goes in. Victoria was suspended above the display case that had the manuscript that she was trying to steal. She got that, she did the switcheroo, and that's when the mummy attacked her. But that's when Larry came in and distracted the mummies. So that mummy has turned its attention to Larry, and they're now all moving toward Larry. And that's when he realizes that, wait, these aren't people dressed up as mummies. These are mummies. So why don't we pick that up right there? Larry, you are surrounded by 3 mummies that are at this point within arm's reach of you. What do you do?
Oh gosh. Okay. Are they surrounding me, or is it a wall of mummy coming towards me?
I'm going to say that you are partially surrounded. There's one in front of, there's one right in front of you. I think you said you patted one on the back. So I think there's one standing next to you. I think a third one is coming in. Your back is to the door, and that, there is not a mummy in that direction.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try to punch my way out of the mummy pile. Just a big clumsy right cross to the closest mummy to kind of get it off my back and then leave.
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you're going to deliver a beatdown to a mummy.
All right.
So when you trade blows with an enemy in melee, and that seems to be what you're doing here, or I mean, are you actually trying to fight? Are you trying to fight them, or are you trying to fight through them?
It's more so of a fight through them. If I have to just punch all the mummies, I will do that as well. I'm kind of picturing that, I'm at least trying to get one on its back, so that I can run away from it.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out if we were triggering deliver a beatdown or get out of the way. Sounds like you are actually trying to attack one. So yeah, if it's okay with you, let's. I think it's going to be deliver a beatdown.
Sure.
So
I rolled.
So reading the move, when you trade blows with an enemy in melee, roll plus might.
All right.
So,
I rolled a 9 and my might is 1, so that's 10.
Oh, so that's a full hit. Fantastic. So on a 10 plus, you deal your damage and choose 1. So your choices on the list are: you can deal great harm, so you can deal an additional harm. You can disarm your opponent. I mean, I suppose you could literally disarm one. Disable your opponent. Take something they're holding, or avoid any counterattacks.
I think I'm going to actually disarm it. I'm going to I'm gonna grab a mummy by the arm with my left hand to stabilize it and punch it in the face. But what happens is the arm stays and the mummy like falls away, and the other mummies can like slap me or whatever, and I'll have a mummy hand, a mummy arm.
Okay, you have a mummy heart. You have a mummy. Let me just double check what mummies are doing for damage here. I wrote this down and now I can't find it. That was not smart of me.
This is the point where Larry realizes that they're not like people who've been waiting for him.
Whoa! When the arm comes off, and there's like this in this like cloud of dust that does not smell good.
Oh man.
Come on, where are they?
And Larry's seasick, he's a little tipsy, you know, his lungs are full of mummy dust. I don't know, I might have to run to the side of the ship.
Yuck. Okay, yeah, you've done, yeah, you have done some harm to this. I'm going to say that you know, the other mummies like grab at you and like kind of like tear at your clothing, and one just kind of like backhands you. And I'm going to say, please take 2 harm from that attack.
Right.
It smacked you. It backhanded you across the face. I'm going to say like there's blood coming out of your nose at this point.
Have I bought some time for Victoria to escape?
I'm going to say at this point, yes. So Victoria, you are able to get down from your rig. What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm thinking I swung on the grappling hook and I retrieve the grappling hook at the last minute, and I just jump out of the range of the pressure sensor and land in a superhero landing.
I'm imagining you do like a double somersault in the air
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
land like black and like do that 3-point landing with the arm up like Black Widow does.
Yeah, and I asked Larry, "You need a hand?"
No, I got this. Ah!
Okay, then
I don't just have an
going.
hand, I have a whole arm.
But yeah, I think Larry's gonna just try to beat the mummies back with the arm.
You
once
boys
Victoria
have
escapes.
fun.
So yeah, you're able to back away from the mummy, including the one that you like ripped the arm off of. That one's still animated and still coming at you. Janice, what are you and your gang doing? I think most of the gang was running out.
Yeah, I think I told them to leave. Right. So I think yeah. So we see Victoria do her double somersault, and then the camera just kind of slides over, and you see Janice doing a spinning kick to the closest the mummy closest to Larry.
So you are also going to attack the mummies.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to do a headshot with a
Fantastic.
kick. And let's see what that looks like.
Okay, so so you are
6.
So you can use so because you're using a kung fu technique, you may use hustle instead of might.
Right. Okay, so I have a total of 6. Can someone help me?
Can I help by like maybe there's a mummy in the way and I pitched the arm at it.
Sure. So I'm still gonna this is, I think this is gonna still be a miss, but I think I'm gonna move that from me making a hard move to me making a soft move. So, so I'm gonna say, so why don't we do this? Why don't we say, so Janice, go ahead and describe your kick and how you 100% connect, and tell us why like kicking a mummy doesn't do the kind of damage that you would expect if you were kicking a person. Because if you had kicked a person like this, it would have totally gone. It would have been, you would have like knocked her across the room. But that didn't work on a mummy.
I think you just hear this terrible crack, and the head, like, almost falls off, but the bandaging keeps it together, and it just kind of, and you hear another terrible crack as it puts it back.
No.
puts
So the
itself
head
back
is
together.
the head's like still connected to its neck, but it's like turned 90 degrees, but
Right.
it's still moving.
Right. And you hear her curse in Chinese.
Got it. And so you do that. You'd expected to like kick this thing backward, but you knock its head sideways, but it just smacks you right back, because that's the thing with deliver a beatdown is you are exchanging blows. So unlike in say D&D where each roll is basically a strike and then there's another strike, like in combat in Spirit of 77 and a lot of games, this like a roll is kind of like an exchange of blows. So it's like it's like a couple of second action scene. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Janice is doing some like way cool kung fu moves, like does a good connection, but one of the other mummies like grabs her arm, spins her around, and like smacks her in the face as well. So in this exchange, please also, I think you will also take 2 harm.
What's our threshold for damage?
Oh.
Or
Yeah, so you can take up to so player characters. Let me just double check this. Yeah, player characters have a total of 8 harm. If you've taken 8 harm, you're dead. If you take 7 harm, like 7 harm is like you're probably unconscious and you need immediate medical assistance or you're gonna die. 2 harm is, hold on, let me just read this here. Actually, let me see if it's in my other rules tab. It's not. So let me just kind of read it from the book here, if I can find it quickly. Sorry about this. I thought I knew this. I just want to make sure I got it right. Here we are. Okay, harm levels. So yeah, you can take up to 8. You can take up to 7 harm and still be okay. The more so yeah, so a 2 harm hit. It's like the punch from a heavyweight boxer. So yeah, you got smacked pretty hard. You're not at any disadvantage. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here we are. So minor wounds. 0 harm is healthy. You're looking good. 1 harm is bruised. You're battered, but ultimately okay. 1 harm will heal on its own. 2 harm is bloodied. You may need some stitches, a night in the hospital, or the rest, or rest for the week. Sorry, got a spam call. 3 harm is you're bruised and bloody. You kind of need medical attention. 4 harm is you've got like broken bones. You're still up and about, but you're rolling with disadvantage. At 5 harm, you're down. You can still move, but you're going to lose consciousness quickly. At 6 harm, you are knocked unconscious and are dying. At 7 harm, you're not dead yet, but you need like an EMP to be there within the next couple of minutes, or you are going to die. And if you're taken to 8 harm, you're just dead. It is also possible to take what's called a scar at 4 harm, which basically eliminates your harm, but you take a permanent you can take a permanent penalty to one of your attributes. That's called taking a scar. So if you're at 4 harm and you need to keep going, you can choose to debilitate one of your stats permanently to wipe out the harm. And then you can kind of basically keep going as if you're new, but you have a new complication. So that's combat in a nutshell. Any questions before we go on? Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say Janice, when you got smacked in the face, I'm gonna say you felt the crack of you got a broken nose. But like Larry, you're able to if you want to, you can do a fighting retreat. Same with you, Janice. I think I think at this point, Victoria, you're at your feet. You can make a dash for the door. Basically, at this point, if you want to keep fighting the mummies, you can, or if you want to make a dash for the door, I'm gonna say one of you can. Yeah, I'm going to say if you want to make a dash for a door, that's going to be get out of the way.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of the way.
And Victoria, I think you are clear of the mummies. You can just go if you want to.
Yeah,
no roll
yeah.
here. You can leave the room. The other two, go on.
Yeah, I'll tell them I allow another fighter and run away.
Janice and Larry, however, you are still in melee range with the mummies. So if you want to get up, if you want to turn tail and run, you totally can. But you're gonna have to like dodge. You're gonna have to dodge them. So basically, tell me if you want to do that. Tell me how you're trying to escape the mummies, and then each of you can roll get out of the way.
I'm gonna yell. Yeah,
I was
I'm
gonna
just
say,
gonna
Janice,
yell.
if
We
you
have
want to
to
go first.
run. Sure, I'll yell to Larry that we can't take them, and I'm just gonna do like a side roll on the floor to get some distance, then get to my feet and look for the door.
Fantastic. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll plus hustle?
All right, 9.
Okay. Okay, that's a hit. So your choice, you can get away. One gets one passing blow on you, so you have a choice. You can either take 1 harm, or you can take no harm, but you're in a bad spot, and I get to pick what the bad spot is.
Right. I'll take the 1 harm.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you chose to take no harm, I was going to say, yeah, 100%, except one of the mummies grabs that Anubis mask away from you.
I think I think that's more exciting if the mummy takes the mask. So can I change that?
Yeah, you can absolutely change that. So yeah, you don't take any harm. You're able to get away, but as you're ducking away, I'm going to say you don't it's not exactly a football fumble, but you're not holding on to that mask super tightly. And that's when one of the mummies moves like preternaturally fast. Like that arm just goes in and grabs that Anubis mask away from you as you roll away. You are, so I'm going to say, Janice, you are, you're now in it. You're still in the room, but you're in a position. If you can just turn tail and run and get out of the room, or if you want to try to get that mask back, you're going to have to like re-engage with these mummies. Larry, you are also. Are you also trying to? You're also trying to get out of here. So how are you trying to get away from these mummies?
Yeah, Larry's thinking a mile a minute because Larry does not have the counterfeit sword. Larry's never going to get another chance to get this sword. And it's probably real bad for him if he does not get the sword. So, is it visible to me? Like, do I know where it is? Having cased the place out.
Oh,
All right.
100%. You know it. Yeah, you know right where it is. I'm gonna say, you know right where it is, but it's on the other side of these mummies.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
In fact, you know,
Larry,
like, oh, I love it. So what the viewers at home see is like zoom in on Larry's, who has this like look of recognition. Camera like whips around, and there's like these two Kopesh swords that are crossed on the wall in the display case, and we just kind of like zoom in on those. You know, like zoom back, and we can see that, you know, there's these three mummies that are like standing in front of you, like you know, almost like linebackers. So what do you do?
Larry's eyes narrow and he like pops a kink in his shoulder and he's gonna like take a step back, brace, run towards the mummies and like do a slide under the middle mummy, knocking over as many as possible to get to the other side, still clutching that leg. And then I have plans for what happens after that, but we'll see what happens next.
Okay, so you're gonna slide into third under the mummies. I love
Yeah.
it. This is fantastic. Okay, so this is definitely a get out of the way. So why don't you roll plus hustle?
All right, I have one hustle. No! 4.
Ouch.
Think about this for a sec. Let me think about this for a sec. Oh, okay. I know.
I'm not as young as I used to be.
Oh, no. This works perfectly. You slide right under the mummies. They grasp at you. You run up to that display case. You grab the sword. You pull it off the wall. Red lights start flashing.
Ah, damn it. All right, we gotta hustle. Let's go. Am I clear to run out?
Yeah. You can. At this point, you can do an end run around them.
I'm okay. I'm gonna run out. I'm grabbing the. Oh,
even better. Yeah, you can run out. Like, you also hear like a rumbling as like a gate, as like bars start slowly descending. Everyone else. So Janice, you are still in the room. You can totally get out. Larry, you're on the other side of the room. There's mummies between you and them. You can do an end run around them and try to get there. Janice, if you want to get out of the room, I'm just going to say no roll. You can get out. There's, you know, you're close enough to the door that you can roll under it. Larry, if you want to get out of here with this sword, that's going to be another get out of the way to try to get there in time.
It is, yeah. And since I have a Kopesh, if a mummy gets in my way, I'm taking more limbs off, man. I'm unstoppable.
I love
All
it.
right. Okay. Hustle. That's 12. Much better.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
You have narrative control. Tell us how you get out of the room. Get out of this room. Like just as the gate comes down.
Okay.
And
yes. All right. Larry does not go around the mummies. Larry goes through the mummies. He shoulder checks one of them into like a display case with like a crooked flail in it. Because I mean the cover is blown, whatever. He smashes one into a glass case. He pushes another one onto the pressure plate that Victoria was trying to avoid. I don't know what happens there. Probably something awful. And the other one just reaches for him, and right between both the fingers is whoosh, and then whoosh, beheads the mummy and kicks it over. And then he pulls his knee and he's hobbling towards the exit. Come on! With a mummy's arm under one hand and the Kopesh in the other one. He goes for the slide and he gets kind of stuck and he props it up with the mummy's arm. because why not? And manages to squeeze himself through just before it crushes the mummy arm to dust and bone and comes down.
I love it. Okay, looking at time. Okay. I think we're gonna end this game on a cliffhanger because why not? I think we're gonna have I think we have time for one more scene, and so here's what happens. So yeah, you're now in the hall. You're now in the hallway. There's alarm bells. There's alarm bells sounding, not just in the museum, but there's now other alarms that are in the hallway. Like red lights are coming up. You hear like the sound of commotion. You definitely hear the sound of like several people like running in your direction from one direction on the hallway. You don't hear it in the other direction, so I'm guessing that's the direction you're going to run. As you're and as you're doing that, I think I'm going to save that for later. Okay, so you hear the voices of some number of guards behind you. Definitely fewer than there should be, but you still hear like hold, like freeze, halt where you are. As you hear several guards chasing you from down the hall. And you go ahead and why don't each of you tell me? Let's just do quick scenes of you running through just a quick scene of like what it looks like as you're like running through the hallways of this ship to try to get away from these guards that are chasing you.
I know what mine is.
Go for it.
Larry grabs the counterfeit sword from one of the gang members and chucks the real sword in a lifeboat as he's running along the side of the ship like, all right, where's Ricky? And he's got the sword. He's grabbed like the framing bits. It's gone foobar. We just gotta do it and pray for the best. So he's just running along the side of the ship in the rain and the green lightning, looking for Ricky's level.
Okay, love it. Victoria, what does running away from the guards look like from your perspective?
I'm using the grappling hook to descend on the lifeboat.
Oh, you're gonna. I'm sorry. So you're getting into a lifeboat, or are you like lowering a lifeboat into the water? I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, I'm getting into a lifeboat.
You're getting into a lifeboat. Okay. Into this very stormy water because it's there's swells, there's rain, there's thunder, it's windy. Awesome. Janice, what are you doing? And your gang?
The gang, we've already plotted our escape route, so I think they're good to go. I told them, to vamoose before we even got to the big fight. But I think along the cruise ship, there's because of the exhibit, they have their own cheesy displays of come see the exhibit, blah blah blah, Egyptian. And I think there's one way with some like mannequins dressed in Egyptian clothing, and I think you see Janice running, the guards running, the guards run past in one of those exhibits, and you see Janice kind of like hidden, having grabbed a Egyptian headdress, pretending she's a mannequin there, and they all go past her.
I love it. I love it. That's such a 70s movie. That's fantastic. Okay. So Victoria, you've lowered one of the lifeboats, and yeah, you're in the water now. And hey, it's the 70s. It's not like it's Yeah, it's got a little outboard motorboat. It's got a little outboard motor. Are you like throwing it down and firing it up, or what's your plan here?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we have another. Maybe our plan involve another boat to pick us up after the job is done. That makes sense, right?
Makes absolute sense for you to have for you to have, and we'll cut back to that planning scene that we had earlier, and this is like a piece of information that the audience didn't have until now, which is which is I think like one of you saying, and that's where and the pickup is going to happen here when when the motor yacht that we've chartered will come and pick us up as we escape in the middle of the night in a lifeboat.
Yeah,
Cut back.
So I'm just going to, yeah.
So then we cut back to you, with your, with the manuscript, hopefully not getting too wet in this in this torrential rain and the green lightning as you motor away. Go back to so Janice, you've successfully eluded the guards, at least for now. Larry, what are you? Let's go back to you.
Okay, Larry's plan. I don't know how many steps this will break down into, and I'll try not to make it too complicated. Larry's plan is to find Ricky, who is probably blackout drunk, frame him by like planting some of the Jade Dragon stuff in his place and evidence of having broken to the exhibit, and then like kind of just shuffle him out to the side of the boat so that he can like punch him into a lifeboat with the and retrieve the fake sword and drop the lifeboat so that he can like kind of drift off. We're framing him, but he can't be around to like say I was asleep.
Got it.
So Larry's plan is to stay on the boat undercover to add like legitimacy. That's been part of our planning phase.
Got it. I love it.
To it.
So we're gonna cut back. Okay, cool. So I think I know how I want to end this because we're rapidly running out of time here. Janice, is it okay if like you is it okay to say that like you meet up with Larry and that you're helping him like do this frame job?
I just want to clarify that is Larry leaving the yacht or the cruise ship or not?
My thought was not. We would Larry would like stay behind to like cover for you guys and stuff.
Right.
Because if we all left, it would the heat would come down on us.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's fine. I will I'll stay on the yacht as well.
Okay. So maybe the plan was like some of you was maybe the plan was like maybe the plan was just like Victoria takes the spoils and goes to the motor yacht. So I think we're gonna have I think we're gonna do I think we're gonna end this on a cliffhanger, which is Larry, you have like Larry and Janice, you find Ricky, you punch him out, you plant the evidence on him, you put him in the lifeboat, you've lowered the lifeboat, and it goes in, like splash, and you and Janice look each other and nod, and you turn, and standing there watching you for you're not sure how long, Agent Ramirez is there holding a gun on the two of you. Standing next to him is a woman dressed in clearly dressed like a Fed, played by an actress that is the same height, the same build, has the same hair color as Victoria, and she's got like a thing around her neck that says that just says FBI. And she's also got a gun trained on the two of you.
Oh my God, he's getting away.
Victoria. And then Ramirez looks like, and he just says like, Larry, I knew there was just something off about you.
Well, you got the wrong idea.
Victoria, you are heading down, like you are you're at this point, we see Victoria in this like what I'm thinking it's like one of those inflatable zodiacs. So you've got your hand on the outboard motor, and you're like bobbing through the choppy water, just as and the sky is starting to get a little bright as dawn approaches, but you're in the Bermuda Triangle after all, and that's when you are like bathed in light that's coming down from above, and your thought is your initial thought is, oh no, it's the Coast Guard, that's got to be a helicopter, and you look up and there's this giant green saucer that's floating about 200 feet above you, that's shining this bright light down at you, and we hear like a theremin sound going. To be continued. Roll credits.
Awesome.
And that was Bermuda Love. That was part 1 of Bermuda Love Triangle. Will there be a part 2? Depends on how well this one does it. Depends on how well this one does at the box office.
This show was canceled after the pilot episode.
It's so expensive.
I love it. It did poorly in the Nelson ratings because it wasn't. It did poorly in the Nelson ratings because it was up against the Donnie and Marie show. So that was Bermuda Love Triangle.
That's too expensive.
Right.
So that was Spirit of 77 and Bermuda Love Triangle. I had a ball with this.
Yeah, me too.
So I like to do a little. So thanks for anyone who's actually watching this, thank you so much. If you want to find me on the internet, I'm at Mike Ferdinando on Twitter. Also, Mike Ferdinando is the name of my YouTube channel, which is where you have presumably found this. So anyway, thanks. I'm gonna stop the recording here, and if you all can stay on for another like 10 minutes or so, I like to do a little debrief. But that's for us. It's not for the viewers from home. So thanks for watching, everyone. I had a ball. Thank you to all of my players. This was a whole lot of fun. Thanks.